Hey there guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at my top 10 picks for best movies of 2018. Let's get right into the video. Boom. Alright, let's quickly take a look at what did not make the cut but was so damn close. Alright, these are in no particular order, so let's get right into them. Crazy Rich Asians. Very fun movie, had a great time, just didn't quite make the cut. Next, Avengers Infinity War. Heartbreaking ending, great film all around, didn't make the cut. Leave No Trace. I almost had this in my number 10 spot, but it just got edged out by the number 10 spot. Next, Love, Simon. Very endearing film, got a great story, just didn't quite make the cut. Lastly, The Hate U Give. Very dark movie, just could not get into it, so I just couldn't put it in my top 10 list. Alright, coming in at number 10, we've got Creed 2. Now, if you've seen my review of Creed 2, you know that I loved the movie. Not as much as the first, but it was almost as good as its predecessor. All the performances were great. Michael B. Jordan is a force to be reckoned with. And the real star of this movie is Stephen Caple Jr., the director. He shines the most, and I'm glad that he got a big break in this movie, and I'm sure that if from the next coming, few years, he'll be directing more movies and hopefully great movies too. And I'm seeing an Oscar on his mantle in the next 5 years. I can predict that. Anyways, let's move on to number 9. Next up in number 9, we have First Man. Most critics don't have this movie ranked quite as high as I do, simply due to the fact that they think that Ryan Gosling's performance was stale and the movie lacked an emotional connection, which it's all subjective, so if you have that opinion, good for you. But I personally disagree with that. In terms of the emotional connection, the movie opens up with a heartbreaking event, and I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but watch the movie. The first 20 or so minutes were heartbreaking, and in terms of Ryan Gosling's quote-unquote stale performance, I don't think it was stale. If you've seen Ryan Gosling in other movies, he is not a stale actor, he's a charismatic actor, which means that this is a purposeful decision. So what that means is that the character was stale. But what that also means is that the real life figure was stale, which means that Ryan Gosling was loyal to the original figure. And again, most people will say that it's a movie, you can break rules and, make the character more interesting, but I don't think that was the point. I think that they just had to show how broken and destroyed this character was after losing, I'm not gonna spoil the movie. But yeah, all in all, this movie, number 9, great spot, great movie. Let's move on to number 8. Alright, coming in at number 8, we've got If Beale Street Could Talk. And this is an unconventional film of sorts and barely got any word of mouth this year, which is odd because it was directed by Moonlight director Barry Jenkins, and he got a lot of press in 2016 because what happened, and I'm not going to talk about that kind of stuff, but this is a movie that requires a lot from a person. Similarly to Moonlight, this movie is slow and it unfolds beautifully. And this is the movie equivalent of slow cooking your food overnight and getting that delicious result. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. There's a harsh realization in this movie that this is real life, and real life is not romanticized, and lots of things are just dirty and ugly. And besides the fact that I walked out of this movie kind of upset, it is a very good movie, and despite the result, it is a very good movie, and I did quite like it, and that's why I have it at my number 8 spot. Alright, coming in at number 7, we've got The Favorite. This movie is an excellent example as to how to blend a funny tone with a dark and dreary one. This movie has excellent performances, astounding cinematography, and just a terrific direction. The director, can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to attempt to, should be nominated for Best Director this year. I think he should win Best Director this year. Between him and Stephen Caple Jr., I think that he has the chance. So, alright guys, I implore you to watch this movie. Let's move on to my number 6 pick. Coming in at number 5, we've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I've already reviewed it, so I'm going to be brief about my quick analysis of it right now, but this is an excellent character study that just takes a look at a retired Peter Parker whom is at the end of his whims and has lost all sense of direction in his life, and he meets and comes across Miles Morales as well as many other Spider-Men and women who all team up against the Kingpin to save the multiverse. It was a fun ride, terrific action, and a stellar pace. The best animation of the year so far. I'd probably also give it a Best Picture nomination. If it doesn't get one, that's fine, but it definitely has to win the best animation nomination and the win this year. Alright guys, let's move on to my number 5th pick. Roma, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, is a masterfully paced, well-edited movie that is essentially a study of the mundane, similarly to Patterson that came out in 2016. I personally love all of Alfonso Cuarón's movies. Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite Harry Potter movie, and I think Children of Men is the best movie that came out between the years 2000 and 2010. I am heartbroken that this is not my #1 film of the year, but my gripes with the movie were that the black and white color scheme felt gratuitous, as well as a mediocre story. But all that aside, it was a great movie, and I have it in my number 5 spot. Let's move on to my number 4 spot. Alright guys, coming in at number 4, we have Hereditary. Now this movie kind of reminded me of The Babadook, kind of blending in with The Witch, and this was a dark, dreary film that felt hopeless, and the horror inside of it it was elevated by the fact that there was no escape. These characters suffered, and in my opinion, this is just as good as The Witch, and I think this is probably top 5 horror movies in the last about, I'd say, 10 years. Definitely. Third on the list, You Were Never Really Here. Now, this is a movie that discusses dark subject matter, that of child rape and abuse, but it does it in a compelling manner that does not glorify or romanticize the subject matter. This is probably Joaquin Phoenix's best performance in the last, I'd say, 5-6 years. The cinematography was great, the sound design was just astounding, the lighting was gorgeous, the framing was all great. It was probably the film that engrossed me the most and got me connected to the movie the most, not emotionally, but just I got connected to the movie early on and just kept me there, held me down till the end of the movie. Just a great movie, guys. Make sure you check it out. Alright, coming in at number 2, we've got Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, if we're talking simply about how entertained I was this year, this is probably the highest. It entertained me the most. Very fun. It had some great action, some funny lines from Simon Pegg, and it was just probably the most fun I had in the movie theaters this year. Now, I personally think this is the best out of the Mission Impossible movies, which is a big statement because I think 4 and 5 are probably some of the best action movies of the last few years. Sorry, I think Mission Impossible Fallout is the best action movie in the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. Tom Cruise's stunt work was great. I think the guy's gonna kill himself, but whatever, if he's giving us great movies, who cares? The action was great, the performances were great, the score was fantastic, the stunts in this movie were even better than the last movies, and let me tell you guys, the helicopter scene, that was mad. Alright, let's move on to my favorite movie of 2018. Alright, now it's time for my personal pick for best movie of 2018, and that is Searching. Now, this movie was all sorts of crazy when I heard about this movie. I thought it was a crazy movie. I didn't think it was possible that they could make an entire movie based in a computer, and there were no shots that were outside a computer. But watching the movie, it was smart. There were things that I was like, oh, okay, now they're breaking the rules. But not really, because there's one shot where they've got the camera in a helicopter, and we're looking down. It's similarly to any shot you see in any movie of like a panning down shot where we see landscapes. But in this movie, it was in the news. So we saw it through a computer, through the news, but we still got the same shot that you'd get from a normal movie. Just this way, it was put in a news broadcast. It was brilliant the way it did it. We were able to go outside of our computers and everything here, but using our phones and using the news. And the brilliance of this movie is that aside from the gimmick of keeping everything inside the computer, is that it sets up Easter eggs. And I'm gonna put a link on the screen right now. Go watch that video. It's by LME, the guy from LME. Let me explain. And he has a whole video designated to finding all the Easter eggs and all the clues in the movie. There's a second plotline about aliens. If you watch all the news things in the bottom, go watch his video. It's a really good video. He explains it better than I could. Please guys, I implore you, go check it out. I've never been so motivated to get people to watch a specific movie. This was a movie that I think people should hear my things. So anyways guys, go check out this movie and let's wrap it up. Alright guys, do make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and if this video gets 20 likes, I will make sure to drop my analysis of Hereditary this week. Anyways guys, take care, peace.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.